Welcome back to Stream It. We are out of award season now.
Yes.
We're back into our normal programming. So yeah, just to like get back into like current TV, we're going to talk about like what's like currently airing right now, like what's hot right now.
Right. And what's dropping weekly.
Yes.
Because that's all the hotness. With all these new releases, it's
Yep.
once a week, which is like, I feel like old. It's an old
Companies should have
It's an
done.
old way to do
Companies
it.
should have done
Going
that
back.
before.
Yeah, right?
I don't know why no
During
one ever
COVID,
thought.
they were just like, here's full seasons of things. And we were like, this is awesome. Streaming's great. And then now they're like, no. We need to build anticipation like
Right.
it used to be with TV.
Yeah.
And now we got to wait.
Yeah. Which like I feel like there's an argument for both sides of like what's
Yeah.
better, the weekly drops or being able to binge everything at once.
You know what I appreciate is when it's like a new show and they drop like the first 2 episodes.
Yes.
That's like, all right, I see you seeing me needing this and I appreciate it.
Or the first episode will be like 2 hours long.
Right, sure. That's
Like,
good too.
Sweet.
Because when you watch like a 45-minute or like whatever it is, and then it's just done, you're like, oh, I can't wait to like. It's so annoying. Like,
Yeah.
give me enough to get a full dose right out the gate.
Yeah. So we'll dive into more of that in a few minutes. But first, got an opening question. Inspirational sports movies are always a huge hit. If you had to make a movie that revolved around a sport, what would it be? But it cannot be one of like the typical popular sports. So no football, baseball, basketball, soccer, or hockey.
Oh, I have one that comes right to mind. Might end up being kind of a biopic because I've
About you?
played this sport, and
Okay.
won a tournament. But wiffle ball.
Okay.
I feel like that could get really, really overly intense, where it's like doesn't really matter, but you could weave a story
Yeah.
that's there. Cinderella story that
Right.
unlikely duo ends up
Right.
at a tournament and wins the whole thing.
Right. And wiffle ball is one of those sports where, from the outside looking in, you're just like, it's that that kid game. Like, how crazy could it be? But then you watch what some of these professional wiffle ballers can do with that plastic ball,
It's crazy.
and it's insane.
And there's like a whole underworld
Insane.
of like
Right.
leagues and
Right.
like pitches and like you need to train to like learn those pitches and practice how like to make the ball just like
right.
be
These
crazy.
absolute.
It's hard to
Crazy
throw
shit.
that ball.
Yeah.
Like it's just air.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
At one point, I had a pretty good slider.
Yeah. Shout out to Dan Donahue,
Right.
friend of the show.
Oh, that's right.
But he used to have the slider or curve, but then he'd also couple that with the screwball. So it was like just coming at you from both sides and very effective. And he seemed to master it.
He
Just why
he taught me
big
that
reason,
slider.
big reason why we made this tournament and ended up winning. That and a few diving catches
Nice.
from yours truly. But yeah, that's another story.
Right.
A wiffle ball movie would be epic though.
Good. Good. What about you?
I went also with the sport that I've played, ultimate frisbee. I think it could be a great. I think just a classic because it's one of those sports where you kind of travel for like one tournament weekend, and then usually it's. I feel like the ragtag group of kids in college that hobbled together this ultimate team, and so I feel like you could have a great cast of characters. It'd be a classic
I'm getting like a dodgeball vibe.
right
Like
classic
Average Joe's.
right
Yes.
classic
Yeah.
coming of age mixed with that sort of underdog vibe.
Yeah.
But then it's also one of like everyone's tired at this tournament. Like the
Right.
games are at 8 a.m. and you're
Yeah,
playing till
it's
4
hot.
p.m. and
Yeah.
right, it's hot or it's raining. There's
Yeah.
the one of the worst experience I've ever had in my life was we went for spring break. We went to North Carolina for this tournament, and it was like the 4th day of games. We
So
were.
you've done a tournament.
So I've done a tournament
wow,
like this.
nice.
It was our 4th day of games. After driving for 10 hours, like we drove for like 6 hours and then like 7 more.
Wow.
It was our 4th day of games. We were approaching the end of like, round robin play and getting towards where it was elimination. I think we were either already eliminated and we were just like playing one for fun, or we were getting eliminated and getting spanked in this game. Dang. And it was raining and it was March, and North Carolina is still not very warm in March. And so it was freezing and raining, and we're getting
I feel like a Frisbee would not fly well.
we were getting our butt kicked, and we were like done from the tournament, and I don't want to be here right now.
And it's so far till I get home.
And it's the fourth day. I'm so tired. I haven't slept.
Wow.
Yeah, just one of those weird sports where everyone's like, "Hey, you're tired?" And you're like, "Yeah, we're all tired." And it's like, "All right, let's play, play till 20 here." And right, nice. Everyone's driven 12 hours to get here.
I'd watch that movie.
Right.
Maybe like the biopic piece needs to be a part of it.
Yeah, I think so. I had fun.
Yeah, because my sport is also one that I feel a connection to.
Yes.
Badminton.
Nice.
Because they had us play it in gym class 1 year here, and me and my friend got really into it, aggressively so.
High school flashback,
Oh yeah, we took it way too seriously, and then we put up a net in my backyard all summer and would play it all day long. And I have a pool. We should have been swimming. We would just play it all day long.
You're sweating and
my brother would have his friends over, and he's 4 years older than me. And we'd be like, "You guys want to play us? Good luck." And they would play us and be like, "Okay, cool, done." And we'd be like, "Again, let's go."
Just got 4 more hours.
So near and dear to my heart, and I feel like it's ridiculous, just it's a
backyard game. Yeah.
I think that there is.
It's an Olympic sport, though.
Yeah, it's volleyball, but with a little tiny.
Yeah, right.
Little tiny bird.
Smaller, you hit it.
So yeah, I feel like there could be a.
What would this movie would it be? Because I feel like ours are underdog stories of people going to professional tournaments. Well, not professional, but organized tournaments. Maybe your movie is about a professional Whipple league, but is your movie? Is there a professional badminton league? You
could make an Olympic run in your movie.
Oh,
it's true.
Olympic,
Mighty Ducks 2.
And then the main character invites their gym teacher to the Olympics to cheer them on.
Yeah,
because that gym teacher inspired them to be this Olympic athlete.
Tie it all together.
It's the two best friends who from high school moved to the Olympics.
Right. They're just let's make a run at this. Training sequences.
Yep.
Obviously. wrist sweatbands too.
Yeah.
I like it. We got 3 good movie ideas here.
Wow. I love all the memories that this question just dragged out of us.
Great question.
It was a great question.
I don't know what made me think of it. I think it was you guys were talking about the senior faculty basketball game, and I was like, sports. That's one.
Bring some sports and stream it.
Shout out Emerson Skunks.
You were the Skunks?
We were the Skunks.
That's the mascot?
Not of Emerson, just of us.
Oh.
It was a club team first. This was not an NCAA sanctioned team. We were a ragtag group of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
We were school
from Emerson and didn't use their mascot.
Yeah.
What is Emerson's mascot?
The Lions.
Oh, well, I do like the Skunks better than that.
Right. That's why I texted Go Lions. That's why I texted Go Lions when the Daniels won the award.
Right.
Shout out to Daniels.
Did anybody give you make jokes about you being the Skunks? Stink or
I don't know. Probably they probably did. At the end, part of the
or you're nocturnal.
Part of Ultimate Frisbee is the spirit of the game. So everyone's there to have a good time. So at the end, you do a cheer for the other team. So I think a lot of people did you guys stink, good, and then we'd be like,
that's funny. Yeah,
so,
it's very cute.
It was very cute. It was very fun trying to in the huddle, being how do we compliment these guys? What's their mascot? How do we?
Right.
You're cool.
Right. Right. I think the default.
You guys are we're Skunks. Come up with something.
I think the default was just good job, team.
Yeah.
Other team.
I love that.
Sometimes,
That's awesome.
Spirit of the game.
I would have liked to play you guys because there's just so many puns.
Yeah. We have a crest, and our crest was a skunk on it, and then the slogan was, I don't know, but it's in Latin. It's Veni, Vidi, and then the third one it means. So we came, we saw, we sprayed.
Nice.
Whatever that is in Latin.
Oh my
I'm
God.
probably doing them a dishonor by not remembering it in Latin, but we came, we saw, we sprayed.
That's got to be part of your movie, I think.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh,
That's going in
that's
there.
awesome.
I think our name was The Perfect Storm,
Nice.
which is a little bit more aggressive.
Right.
I feel
than
like,
the skunk.
did you guys come up with that?
Oh yeah, we love it.
I feel like
We
that
have jerseys that say The Perfect Storm on them. Yeah.
that like lines up with like you and Dan's energy.
Right.
I feel
Yeah,
like.
exactly.
What if we're the perfect storm?
Like, yeah, just the
Thunder
right.
and lightning.
Exactly. Whatever, however you want to, do it.
Who was thunder? Who was lightning?
I was definitely Thunder. I've always been the Thunder. I'd kill to be the Lightning, just once.
Oh man. That's like a subplot in the movie.
Yeah.
You're like sick and tired
Right.
of being the thunder.
I guess I got to work on my foot skills to be Lightning. Anyway.
I'm picturing that scene. They're in the car.
I am.
The
yeah.
Dan character's like, "Come on, you're already in strife." The Dan character's trying to pull you guys back together. Like, come on, thunder and lightning, and then they're like, "No, no, thunder and lightning for once."
You're like, pull over the car. I'm getting out.
Pull over.
Lightning strikes.
You're in the middle of Route 60, just nowhere. Pull over. I'm out of here.
This just turned into another episode of us writing the next great
Yeah.
Oscar movie.
All right, who do we cast? Who's
The Rock is.
It's the
Rock.
Rock and Marky Mark
Oh my god.
in my movie.
So Marky Mark is Dan
Yeah,
in this scenario.
right. The Lightning.
Yeah. Yeah.
lightning?
I could see it. All right.
Okay.
Moving on to.
All right, enough of that.
Great 30-minute opening question there.
Yeah.
I feel like with us, like we'll just like keep going if we don't like
Right,
make
right,
the
right.
hard like cut off.
That's a host job. Keep us on schedule.
All right. So currently airing, you can jump in right now, catch up before next week. Shows. So we picked 3 big ones, and then we got a little bonus one at the end that just finished, but it's still like being talked about right now. You can join in the conversation.
Right.
Right.
So, want to just go down
Sure.
the list. So first up, big one that we've talked about several times is Abbott Elementary.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so good. Have you seen it?
No. But I did see, so I saw that one season was on Hulu. Here I am learning that's all they have to offer because season 2 is just on. So that's good news because I don't
Right.
have too much catching up.
Right. No, yeah, still pretty new.
Oh, and HBO.
Season 1 is on HBO, and then everything up to
and
the
then it
current
goes to
episode is
Hulu.
on Hulu.
Gotcha.
Right.
Yeah. It airs every Wednesday and is available on Hulu on Thursday.
Right.
Weird.
And yeah, it's another workplace
Oh,
company.
because I guess it's all Disney owned and Disney sort of owns Hulu. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I don't know why
Is it-
HBO just has season 1
they
for some
just got
reason.
it.
But
They're just like
It's good.
that.
They're like, this is quality TV.
This
Yeah.
is good TV.
We want
and
we want
it was perfect because there's no ads, so like I just flew through the first season on
Yeah.
HBO.
Me too. That's what I think I saw it on HBO, and I was like, what is this? This is good.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you just watch it in a day. What's her name? Brunson.
Tinta?
Quinta.
Tinta.
Yes, I think so.
I hope I'm
she's
pronouncing it
brilliant.
right.
This show is great with names.
She just confidently say it, right?
Quinta.
Quinta.
I want to say it's Quinta.
Quinta Brunson. Done. She's brilliant. I love, like,
So good.
it's so smart. It's witty. It's like current in like all the different things that are going on.
Quinta.
Quinta. Okay, yeah.
Nice.
Perfect.
And I mean, we obviously are out of a school, and it just like hits home. And I mean, everybody gets the idea. Everyone went to school. They get like public school tropes and all like the different things, but they just nail it, and it's so funny, and like, yeah, just excellently done.
And it's like such a feel good, like perfect way to like I like to watch it like right before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, oh, I feel like I'm like nice and like relaxed now.
Right.
Like one of the last episodes was like involved, like a lot of the parents like backing like the staff of the school.
Yeah.
Like I won't go into it, but it was just like such like a sweet episode. I was
Right.
like, this is like
Yes,
so
they had their
awesome.
back,
Like I
yeah.
love this because like usually like they're like the underdog school that like
Right.
everyone like just makes fun of and like
Right.
has their like structural like issues in the building.
Right. Lights falling and
Yeah. But it's nice to have like I feel like it's been a long time since there's been like a network show that's been worth tuning into every week.
Yeah.
That hasn't just been strictly streaming.
Right. Agreed.
So it like feels nice to like have a show like that again.
For sure. The other strength I think that has is the cast is like so relatable.
Yeah.
Like Janine Quinta is just like that like try hard teacher who's like young and trying to like figure it out and be like the best. You've got the like old seasoned teacher. So like the characters, but then also the people that play him are just like spot on to like someone that you feel like you knew in school. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just I feel like that and the cast is so good together. And I don't know, yeah, it's just really, really good.
Yeah. I've been liking Jacob recently.
He's kind of like that nerdy, overly like aware, I don't know, like teacher.
But yeah, it's
Pretty
Well,
solid. So
well
you
it
have-
sounds good.
yeah.
I know,
so-
or you've each
Probably.
seen some like some of
Right.
these in some capacity, but highly recommend tuning
Yes.
in. You can catch up quick and then
It won some Emmys, right?
watch each one drop.
It has, yeah.
Yeah,
It's like the like big thing right now, I feel like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent.
So jump in on Hulu.
Yeah.
And it also airs on ABC. Okay. Next one, also a Wednesday release, is The Mandalorian.
So I've not watched the new season because apparently, and a tip for anybody who hasn't, you gotta watch Boba Fett, right? The book of
Right.
Boba Fett, at least 2 important
Yeah.
episodes.
Right.
But I think altogether it's like 6, so maybe fly through that, and then you can watch Mandalorian.
Right.
Yes.
And I think Boba Fett is good in of itself, worth the watch.
Yeah.
Any fans of Star Wars would probably enjoy it. But yeah, new season's been great. Really liked it so far. They're doing a lot of like world building outside of the Mandalorian's world, which is not something they've done the past couple seasons. It's been very much the lone gunslinger in some far off planet doing his own thing. But now they're introducing some other elements, some elements of, you know, like the New Republic and showing how the end of the Empire is affecting the galaxy and whatnot. So that's been cool to see them kind of expand the world.
Yeah. And we're back in I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of the city that they've been in for the past like 2 episodes.
Coruscant,
Yes. Like
the capital city.
yes.
Yes, Coruscant.
Which is cool because I've some of these places we haven't seen since like the prequel movies,
Right.
I think. And it
Oh,
like
yeah,
still
that's
just
cool.
looks like
Right.
so good. They haven't like lost their budget for like
Right.
set
So does it
building
feel
at
more
all.
connected to like the Star Wars universe
I think so.
because they're like
Yeah.
doing that and bringing
Yeah.
it back to like cities that you haven't been to since like that?
Yes.
And, like,
And there was, not to spoil too much,
you can
but
whatever you gotta say.
okay, I was just gonna say Grogu kind of has a flashback of when he was at the Jedi Temple. So you're getting some of like you're starting to see some of Grogu's origins and how
Oh, yeah.
he managed to escape the Empire, and you know some of the characters from back then. So yeah, it was really cool to see that. But the one thing I don't like, and I don't know if this is a flaw of mine or a flaw of the world creating, but they do a lot of. So they had the Clone Wars series, which is like 6 seasons, and it's a lot. And I tried to watch
That's
it,
the animated one.
the animated
Yeah.
one, and they have. Obviously it was 6 seasons long, so they had a ton of content in it that's just not in the main series of movies. And so they have a bunch of characters from them that they put into The Mandalorian and don't really, and they're just like, here's this character now. And anyone who's seen the Clone Wars is like, oh, that's really cool. Anyone who hasn't is like, am I supposed to be hyped for this person?
Yeah.
And like obviously like the big ones like Ahsoka coming in season 2. Like I feel like Ahsoka is a big enough character that you're like, oh, Ahsoka was Anakin's apprentice. that's all you need to know for, you know, for the most part. Like, that's cool. But there are some like even smaller characters that I'll see people on Twitter being like, oh, I love that character showed up. And it was like,
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
cool.
Like a lot of the villains.
Right. And they have like moments where like the door opens up and there's this character.
You're like, oh.
And it's like,
Cool.
was that was you dressed it up to be this really cool revealing moment, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like that's a fair critique.
Right.
yeah. Like, Bo Katan is like she was in
Right.
season 2. She had
Was-
like the short red hair. She's like a Mandalorian.
Oh yeah.
She's
Major character in the
Yeah.
Clone Wars.
Oh okay.
She was her sister was the Queen of Mandalore,
Oh wow.
and then Bo-Katan is a major player in like kind of the fall of Mandalore and all. Like the siege of Mandalore that they reference happened. It didn't happen in the Clone Wars. I think it happened afterwards.
yeah.
But you start to see kind of the struggle of Mandalore versus like other forces in the Clone Wars series.
And I feel like they're kind of doing a good job of like they've like kind of like settled like who she is
Right.
if you haven't seen Clone Wars. But whenever she like talks about like, in this season she's talking about like her past a lot, and I'm like, I know what you're referring to, but I feel like I'm not grasping like how big this is.
Right. Right.
And now she's like almost like the main character this season. Like she's kind of in it more than Mando,
She's in a lot.
which I liked because like she's really cool. But also my other critique of this season is that I feel like Mando's kind of like useless. Like he hasn't really like done anything the first 3 episodes, and I feel like everyone else is kind of like taking on the
Right.
mantle
Right.
of
He's
like
just kind of been
leading
around.
the story. Yeah.
That's interesting.
But I think it's also too because like you said, like the first 2 seasons were more like anthology. Like it was like the story connected overall, but it was like each episode was basically him going and like fighting a different monster,
Right.
to try to protect Grogu.
Right.
And now it's like, oh no, there's like something actually happening, and like it connects. So like I
Right.
hope you remember what happened last
Oh, yeah,
week.
yeah, yeah. I kind of like when he just goes on random planets and fights monsters.
There has been a lot of
obviously
monsters
I love
this season.
season 2 for me. Like it got really repetitive, where he goes finds this town, and this town is like, yeah, sure, we'll help you out with the place to stay and some food. But there's this monster we've been dealing with. You look like you could battle something. Would you mind fighting that? And you'll give you this
That's
part.
what people came
We'll
for.
give you this part for the ship. And it was like cool, but then it was like 6 episodes in a row at one point. And I was
I
like, oh
loved it.
my god.
Whenever there's a big monster, like
Yeah,
first
sign
episode
me up. I
started
like
with
it.
the big monster, I was like, nice.
Nice.
I don't even know what's happening, what time period we're in. I
love
thought
it
it was
too.
a flashback the whole time. It wasn't. I was like, sweet, I don't even care.
Give me it.
Big crocodile, yes.
Oh, and this is, yeah. No, but like in season 2, it was literally like, hey, I need this part for my ship. And I was
Yeah.
like, we have it. Do you want to fight this monster for it? And like, there no mention of the monster before, and the guy like turns around and is like, oh, by the way, there's been this monster. And it's like, oh my, you can't just like, I don't know, make him pay you for it.
I think it was
not how it
like
works.
the X-Files that used to do like Monster of the Week. Like when they would like were still airing, and that's what one of my friends like calls the Mandalorian. They're like, it's just a Monster of the Week episode, like every
Right.
episode.
And right, this last one was no excuse.
Yeah,
New big monster.
another one.
Yeah, sign me up. That's why I like that show.
And have you okay? Similar to my previous Book of Boba Fett rant, have you seen any trees in the planet where the Mandalorians are staying, like where their cult, not a cult, where their crew is? You know that planet.
Yeah.
Have you seen? Are there trees on that planet?
No.
They're having fires, aren't they?
They're having fires. They had a campfire again, and I was like, all right, I think maybe I've seen trees in the background. But now
And there was a nest.
right,
with
a nest
branches.
made of branches. And previously you'd asked me like, oh, maybe it's campfire built of something else. No, there's a shot where they're putting out the campfire and it's made of branches. And then even one of the concept arts at the end of the episode
Yes.
showed the campfire with like a teepee of twigs.
You're right.
Did
They,
you tweet at
I tweeted
show
him
creators?
last time when
that-
Book of
was
Boba
that
Fett
the
came
story?
out, because that was Tatooine. That was the desert. That was no excuse. This one is just kind of more of like a
Maybe I
rocky.
haven't seen the
Right.
trees.
This one's more of like a rocky planet. They have water on it, so that one I could be like, oh yeah, the trees are just over there.
Right.
Got to rewatch like the chase scene.
Yes.
Maybe they went past some trees.
Maybe.
Like
Maybe.
Because there's like
watching the
water.
Mandalorian
I
for
think that they
trees.
flew over water.
Right. There's the lake like
So
right next to that rock they stay
Right.
in.
So there's got to be some nature.
God, they haven't shown it. I just want one shot, one line. I need one line of the armorer lady to tell the big machine gun guy, "Hey, it's your turn to go chop some wood."
Right.
I just need that one line, and then he walks off, and I'm like, sweet. That's all I needed for the world building. They just keep building campfires made out of wood on these barren planets,
Yeah. I wish that I had an explanation.
and not Dave Filoni, not John Favreau, not the director of that particular episode, not the set designer. No one has
Gotten back to you?
thunk. Where is this wood coming from?
Never mind gotten back to you about it.
Right, never mind got back to me about it. I really hope there's like one props guy that's like, hey, go make some wood for this campfire. And the props guy is like, what wood? We live on a desert. And the other guy's just like, just do it. And you're like, all right. That's what I picture.
No one will notice.
That's my personal headcanon.
Or they would look at a tweet like yours and be like, oh, no trees. Like they never thought of it before. And they were like, he's right.
The
How did we
final
miss this?
No.
season 4 is
They go back and like edit the episode so that
There's a tree in it.
season 4. They're just going to take a journey to the other side of the planet and just forests all over just to get me to shut up. That's all. One line or one shot of a tree. Twee.
I'm going to rewatch that chase scene because now I'm determined
I'm
to
going to go
find out.
back because Tatooine, sand all
nothing.
around. There's no trees. You can't convince me it's on some other part of the planet. This planet, you could convince me. There's
Yeah.
that lake there.
We don't know anything about it.
Right. They're kind of in this hilly area. Could be on the other side of the hills, whatever. But we haven't seen it. And the fact that they made the whole nest out of branches.
That was a
That's-
slap in the face.
That
too.
was.
You're like, this is ridiculous.
You can build tiny campfires all you want. Fine, I'll let it. A whole nest.
right in this
and it's
show?
like a giant monster. And so like they stood in the nest, like the Mandalorian people, and you could it was a pool. Like that's how big it was, and just branches all around.
Man.
They're getting more and more bold.
Also, now that we're talking about the
Light
nest,
usage.
one more little nitpick is so there's like the giant nest is on top of like this mountain thing. And they're like, we got to get up there, but we don't want them to hear us. So don't use your jetpacks. Then they proceed to climb loudly and are like, and then standing right outside the nest. And they're like, let's go. I'm like, I think it would hear you.
Right.
Like,
They
what?
have these grappling hooks, and they're like clink onto the top, and then they're climbing, and they're like, ugh.
Like slipping.
Like, they're so loud.
I'm like, wait, hold on. It's a giant bird. I think it's going to hear you regardless of what you do.
Right. Oh, jeez.
3 seasons in, now we're getting comfortable critiquing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. We've established the show's great. Thank you, John Favreau,
Yeah.
Dave Filoni, whatever. Good job. Pick up the little things.
Did you know that the actor who played the Jedi who like is waiting at the elevator was Jar Jar Binks?
Yes. I
from the
found that out
prequels?
from reading tweets afterwards, which again, door opens.
Yeah.
I don't know who that is. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, that's who that was.
Somehow I knew who it was, and that was like the first time I was
Oh,
able
wow.
to be like, I know who that is.
But that character, there's a kids game show, a Star Wars kids game show hosted by Best,
Oh, yes.
where he plays this Jedi character as like the host of the show.
Oh. So it's a
That's
deep
where the
cut.
character is from. It's from it. I guess this game show started in 2020, is released on like YouTube, and is a kids game show.
Wow.
And they took that character and put him in this episode
Random.
and gave him this big moment.
Huh.
So that's why.
Wow.
So again, stuff like that where they're just
Inspiration
like
comes from
right,
crazy places.
right, which like cool, very cool. Happy they did it,
Yeah.
but they made it this super hyped up moment. Door open, like Grogu is alone in this elevator while clones are storming the Jedi Temple. Sorry again, this is spoilery.
That's all right.
And the elevator's like blinking down. You're like, oh, who's gonna be there on the other side when the door opens up? It's a Jedi. Cool. A Jedi. Cool, thanks. And then afterward, you're reading some tweets, and you're like, "Oh, that's really cool." Is Jar Jar Binks actor? Oh, and he hosted this game show in 2020 on YouTube. That's pretty cool.
That's so random. But if you don't care about that, not knowing that kind of stuff, then you really can just jump into the show.
Oh yeah.
And you don't have to have any other Star Wars knowledge to enjoy it. It makes it a little more fun, but it's not.
Right.
I mean, my mom doesn't know a lot of this stuff, and she loves this show.
Yeah.
It's like her favorite one.
Right. It's just the fact that they dress up the moment so much.
Oh, yeah. And like, like the music builds, and you're
Right.
like, I'm supposed to know who this is.
Right. The fact that you know you're supposed to know, and then you don't is just like, oh, that's a little disappointing. But it doesn't matter if you do.
Yeah.
The character, I forget his first name, but the actor's best character was on
Ahmed?
screen.
I think it's Ahmed.
Ahmed Best was on screen for like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll see more of him.
Yeah.
I'm sure Grogu will start remembering
More
his
stuff.
childhood.
Which is cool. Like, that'll be exciting.
Which it was cool. Like they had a close up of Grogu, and I thought Grogu just looked like Grogu this whole time.
Yeah.
But then they cut back to like before, and it was like, that's baby
Little
Grogu.
baby.
Like
He
Grogu's
had like peach fuzz in his head.
like Grogu is like, I guess he has grown up a little bit in the 3 seasons we've known him.
He's like 90, right? I think he's supposed to be like 90.
Maybe, yeah.
But it's still like baby.
Right. He's grown from like this big to this big, but you cut like you have the shot and then you cut back and you're like, oh, like you see him right next to each other.
Baby Yoda.
Like, oh, baby Yoda.
The puppet work kills me. Like when they have him jump.
Because you don't see his legs, so there's
So
no wind up.
ridiculous.
Right.
Like you watch a person jump, you see they're about to jump and now they're jumping. It just, you see this pebble go, woo.
Yeah. And I think
My
that they're
favorite
like,
is when he walks.
oh yeah,
Like a wide shot, absolute, so far away. He's a speck in the
It's
distance,
so
and he's
good.
just like,
Waddling. Yeah.
and I feel like they're not trying to make it look more realistic because I feel like it's supposed to be like doesn't this feel like the old Star Wars? Like
they
the puppets?
specifically, so they do have a puppet,
Yes.
but a lot of shots are CG, and I think they specifically make the CG shots look like the puppet because it's easier to do that than make the puppet look like the CG
Yeah.
shots. So they do that. They do that a lot, where it's like that looks like puppet work, and it could so easily just be.
Yeah.
I think my favorite though is when it's like Pedro Pascal and Grogu, and Pedro Pascal is like, "Okay, come along, Grogu," and like walks at a normal pace, and then Grogu is just like, "Okay," and like starts shuffling. Like, dude, your child cannot keep up.
And then it cuts to like the next scene, and somehow he made it.
He's
You're like,
there,
oh wow, he's not even late.
not out of breath, not doubled over. Like, jeez.
It's so easy to like also just keep talking about this show.
Oh yeah.
But to the point where like people who like maybe haven't seen it are like, all right,
All right,
what are we
guys.
talking about?
And how Grogu walks.
Well,
If you've seen it, you know exactly
Right.
what we're talking about.
if you haven't seen it, look out for shots like that. with
Oh,
Grogu's.
man.
They're the best.
Kills me. So yeah, there's 3 episodes out now. I think there's going to be 5 more. Most of them are pretty short, so you could catch up. Join in on the
Gotta do it.
Mandalorian hype.
Yeah. They're like what, 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Less than 50, I'd
Like,
say.
yeah, definitely. Some of the like early ones were like 20 minutes, like
Yeah.
in
I
season
think
1
the-
and 2.
I think the first episode of this season was like 30 something.
Yeah.
And that was the opposite of what you were saying earlier, where you want that 2-hour episode to start.
Yes.
Or at least,
Right.
2
Or at least 2.
episodes.
Here's like 38 minutes, and you're like, dude,
come on.
After like a year of waiting.
Right.
right, a year since the Book of Boba Fett, and then an additional year since
Right.
the actual last season of The Mandalorian.
Wow.
True.
Crazy.
It's not a long time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then here's 38 minutes. And they're like, dude. Get us.
And like most of that is also the credits. Disney Plus loves their credits.
Yeah.
They last for like 5 minutes.
Right. And then when you leave, it says like, oh, you have 3 minutes left of this episode. And it's like, but that doesn't count.
Yeah. That's
It'd
the
be like
biggest flaw with
left-
Disney Plus. The
Disney-
continue watching
terrible
tab
UI.
is so annoying.
And it's like the fifth option.
Yes.
It's like 4 different categories of things, and then it's your continue watching.
There could be a whole episode about the flaws of Disney
critiques.
Plus's platform.
I have my beef with Disney Plus as an app.
Cam hasn't said a single thing since we started talking about
Turned
The
into critique
Mandalorian.
town over here.
Well, you haven't watched
I
season 3 of The
watched it,
Mandalorian,
yeah.
but you've watched Disney Plus.
Right. No, I agree.
You have great right.
Yeah. So once we've all watched season 3 of The Mandalorian, we'll probably have like a good chunk of a future episode be about this.
For sure.
We'll have a lot to dive into.
Yeah.
All right. But this,
And you at home can be an extra pair of eyes for trees in the distance of the
Yes.
planets.
Or any
if
kind
they're
of
at-
wood,
Any kind of
brush, maybe.
right. Small shrubs.
find us
something.
on social media and tell us if you find a tree in The Mandalorian.
little quick
Right.
screenshot.
You will get a shout out. Okay, this next one is for you, Tam.
Yes.
Ted Lasso. Also a Wednesday release on Apple TV.
Yes.
Which-
Coming
So
out
rude.
now. 2 episodes are out now, and then I think there's 10 more to go, which is nice.
Also a long wait. And it got
Yes.
like pushed, I think, a couple times.
Yeah, I think it was like 2 years
Yeah.
that we've been waiting. But they came back with like an hour
Yeah, it was
episode.
a
The
good
first one
long-
was pretty long.
Yeah.
I feel like 2 years is typical waiting time.
Yeah.
It used to be shows with just like every year.
Well, I feel
out
like
at the same time, and it was great.
this is good television. Like I feel like not that Abbott Elementary is bad television, but it's that setup where they're in the same
Production
set. They're in the
value,
same
yeah.
set all the time in an indoor set,
Sure.
and right,
That's
scripts probably come out the pipeline a little
True.
faster.
It's worth waiting for. And yeah, they get right back into it.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. I feel like have we talked about this on this show or no?
Not the new season.
Oh, must have
We
been
did a
just
look
around-
ahead when the teaser came out.
Right. Yeah, we watched the teaser,
Oh yeah.
but I don't think we've really talked about it beyond
Right.
that.
Well, so far I like that I don't know if I think I've just seen the first episode. Because when
Same.
did the new one? Yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I haven't seen the newest one, but the first one, I guess I like that setup. It's like so far each season has gone through like a year of Premier League soccer, right? And obviously at the beginning of the show, he was brought there as a like supposed to fail coach, and hasn't done that and has actually been really good in his untraditional ways. But I guess I like how they start this season off with like, what are we still doing here? It was kind of like can we really do this? Could we really win like a championship here? And they're kind of setting that up. I don't know how far they'll make it, but like they're kind of setting up that like underdog, like we've existed and now like how good could we be? You know what I mean? Can this like untraditional coach get us there? And then also just there's so much like feel good stuff. Like an ex-coach of the team went on to coach a different team, and he's like, trash talking the old team and blah blah blah. And Ted Lasso gets on the press conference to like respond, and completely takes the high road and is just like, I thought those comments were hilarious. Like, I'm just doing, we're just happy to be
So,
here
yeah.
and like doing it. And it's just, there's a good like morality in that show,
Yeah. I think you said it. It's just like a kill him with kindness show.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know, it's good. It's refreshing to see that in TV and like have a character like Ted Lasso that's just like, I'm just gonna do it and
Yeah.
be like positive about it. So
And they've started to dive into like a little bit more of like how like his character isn't just like this goofy guy. Like he is complex and like
Right.
has problems, but it's like you see like how he deals with it and like how he like chooses to like be in the world,
Right.
even though like that he has like things he's dealing with.
right. I guess I love that. I think just like stereotypical like manliness or like masculinity, it's always that like rough and tough on the outside, and he's not. He's just like,
Yeah.
but it's like so much more powerful or like strength to be like able to just shake that off, take the high road, and like be a good person.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just like refreshing to see a character like that portrayed in TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a big draw for me to that show.
Yeah. And it's like, I think I've said it before, but like, I don't really get into sports, but something about fictional sports teams,
Yeah.
I get
they're so
so
funny.
into
Yeah.
it. Like some of the game scenes in this show have been so exciting.
Yeah.
And you like really are like rooting for them, even though it's like, obviously this is scripted.
Right.
They already know how this ends,
Yeah.
but like, you don't really know like if they're going to make it. And when they do, you're like, wow,
Yeah. Oh,
this feels great.
right. And the characters on the team, like, so funny, and like the dynamics with all of them, and like
Yeah. Cause they're
how
all
they
from different
interact with-
countries.
yeah.
So
And like, oh, it's a really good depiction of like a locker room and a team, and like how it all comes together.
yeah. And even like one of the characters in the first season, she's kind of just set up to be like the girlfriend of like the hotshot player.
Oh yeah.
And you think like, oh, that's probably like all she'll be is like the side character, but like she even gets developed into being like a huge character.
Right.
And like
Oh yeah. I
one of
love
the
her.
best.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
There's
yeah.
great like arcs for all the main characters, really.
Yeah. So that's a great one. If you're looking for a feel good show,
Yeah, for sure.
you'll fly through them. There's no ads.
Yeah.
All right. And this last one is not still airing anymore, but it just ended. The Last of Us on HBO.
The last of these shows, The Last of Us.
Yes.
And this has been all the hotness online and everywhere.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And so I haven't seen it. I want to, but
But you've played the game.
I've played the game. I want to play the second. I played the first game,
Mm-hmm.
which is I think what this season is about.
Yes.
And love the story. Kind of a different take on all the zombie stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, I'm excited to watch the show, but I just haven't gotten around to it.
Is Ari? Are you waiting for Ari,
She-
or is
yeah.
she in or out?
I am, and she says she's in, but she not yet.
Hesitant.
Hesitant since it's going to be scary, and I'm like, doesn't matter. You watched me play the game. You know what you're getting into. Like, let's just watch it.
It's not
so-
even that. I don't think it was that scary. Like the
No.
like tension for sure,
Right.
but a lot of the clickers have been kind of put on the back burner in favor of the more human villains of the show.
Ah, nice.
Yeah. There's I don't know if this like is a bad thing to like say to someone who hasn't seen it, but like there's not a lot of zombies.
Oh, really?
No.
Which like there are even parts where like having played the game, I'm like, oh, there's like the huge zombie part is coming up. And then they like just didn't do it.
Oh, wow.
But it's not disappointing. Like
Oh, yeah.
it's
Right.
like if anything, I feel like if they left the zombies in some parts, it would have taken away from like the story they were trying to
Oh,
tell.
yeah.
Because they like expand on parts that are like so small in the game, but they like stretch it out for some episodes, and it's like it's so good.
Right.
It's like really like thoughtful and like
Right. Every
Well
time we've
done.
talked like how they compare what they've done to the game, you've kind of said that it's been like just good, like well done.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, the show well done.
You understand all the changes. Like they truly have taken the story and made it for
A
television.
good adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
That's good. I mean, I guess it makes sense if you're like controlling a character in a video game.
You need
want-
something to shoot at.
Yeah, you want to like sneak past the zombies and like fight them and everything.
yeah.
But in a
Right. They
that
have s-
gets old in a
Right. They have scenes of that, like scenes of sneaking past, some clickers, scenes of shooting at a horde of
right.
the zombies. But right, what was it, 8 episodes?
I think nine.
Nine
Yeah.
episodes in a 9-episode season. Like you can't do that every episode.
Right. It's like The Walking Dead.
Right.
Like, just over
Walking
and
Dead
over.
dragged on for way too long.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is great.
Yeah. And there are still little details that it's like if you played the game, you're gonna be like, oh, like
Right.
that's cool.
Yeah.
But it's not like in The Mandalorian where it's like, oh, am I supposed to like think
Right.
this is cool? It's like it's subtle enough that it's like if you catch it, you catch it, and if you
Right,
don't,
right.
you wouldn't
Yeah.
know.
And then the other big discussion we've been having is, and I think online too, it's been everywhere, is like the casting and like, could it have been better? And then now hearing from you guys who have seen it,
It's great.
unbelievable. Great.
Yeah.
So if you are one of those people who are like hesitant because of that or annoyed because of that because they don't look exactly like the video game characters, they do a great job.
Yeah.
The ones that they did do. So
They like capture the spirit of them.
right, which
Really
is more
well.
important.
Yeah.
Right.
It's going to be an adaptation anyway. So
Right. We've seen what happens when you just go for looks in the first Steve Jobs movie with Ashton Kutcher. Because everyone was like, Ashton Kutcher looks exactly like young Steve Jobs. And so they went, okay, sure. Put him in a Steve Jobs movie.
you're an actor.
You're an
Go
actor.
ahead.
You can act. You can sort of act. You put him in a Steve Jobs movie. And then the movie wasn't good. And they're like, And so then they made a second Steve Jobs movie with Michael Fassbender,
Yes.
who doesn't really look like Steve Jobs, but enough that he puts on the little glasses.
Yeah. Sure.
And you're like,
Wears a
that's
turtleneck.
Steve. Right. Wears a turtleneck. And then they made a good movie out of it. So
Yeah.
you'd rather have, right,
The good one.
the correct choice for casting, even if it's,
Yeah.
doesn't look quite right.
I feel like most good adaptations, well, not adaptations, like real life stories, when I've looked at the real person, it's never looked like the actor.
Right.
But it's always been like the best like portrayals.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, I don't know how they came to this
Right.
conclusion, but like I'm glad they did.
That's like
Right.
a funny thing. Like when you read the Harry Potter like books, it was such a big thing, like to get that
Oh, yeah.
character
Mhm.
right, and because then it becomes whatever your imagination or whatever you're like, in this case, like used to that video game character looking like that you're a fan of. You want it to be represented like the right way,
Right.
but it doesn't necessarily have to be. You know what I
Right.
mean? The reason you like it is the content and
Right.
the story anyway. So, but yeah, there's definitely like a draw to that for people.
It just has to be good enough where while you're watching it, you're like, yes, that's Joel, and yes, that's Ellie.
Right.
It's
It's
also
like if they changed Mario that we watched.
Yeah.
Like if they changed his like colors
Right.
for the movie, everyone would be like, "Why they change? What?
Yeah.
That's not right." You know what I mean? But
And like,
it probably would still be fine in the movie.
but like the movie Mario doesn't quite look like his in-game model. Like they changed it a little bit,
True.
but it's close enough. And like same with Peach, like Peach
Right,
doesn't
right.
look exactly like her in-game models.
True.
But
true.
like that, yeah, sure, that's Peach. Yeah,
Yeah.
sure, that's Mario.
Right,
Like I'll
right.
buy into it for.
right.
Did you
Obviously it's
see
different.
people complaining that Mario's butt isn't as big in the movie as it is in the games? They were like, "What'd you do to him?"
Nerfed
He's
his,
got no
nerfed his
junk.
butt.
And they were like serious. I was like, wow,
What
guys,
happened?
come on, it's a kids movie.
That's the internet.
That's great.
But it's cool too because in The Last of Us, everyone who plays a part in the video game has a small part in the show.
Like the
and-
actual people.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And like even the woman who plays Ellie is a character in one of the episodes.
Oh, cool.
And she's talking and it's just Ellie. Like it's really weird. 'Cause it's
Oh,
like,
yeah.
oh wow, this is like
Wait,
crazy.
which character? Because I know who Joel's actor was.
Yeah. Ellie was the pregnant woman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Oh.
And like that's what her voice just sounds like in the game.
Uh-huh.
So it was crazy to like hear her fully speaking. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that
this is so weird.
That's Ellie, but that's Ellie.
And then like, I was gonna say, Joel's voice actor and Pedro Pascal, they actually never had
Never
a scene
met
together.
In the scene,
Ah.
yeah.
So I was, dang, that would have been cool to
Yeah.
hear both of them talking.
And even people from
Did
season
you,
2.
when Joel's character, does he speak in the?
Yeah.
He does.
Does it sound
He
like
sounds
him
a
from the
little. He sounds different. He doesn't have like the accent.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And then
He's kind of putting on a voice like Joel's kind of
yeah,
raspy. Like,
and he doesn't look like the person who would be the voice of Joel.
Oh yeah.
Like I always pictured someone older, and he's like kind of young.
Oh yeah.
But even like season 2 characters were like in like the last episode,
Oh yeah.
which was like just a fun little like foreshadow too of like.
The game too? Is that what you're saying? The second.
Yeah, that's
game?
what I meant.
Oh,
Part
Yeah,
2.
people who were in the second game
right.
are in this
The
season
end
2.
of the season
Yeah.
2. Yeah, cool. Or season 1.
Season as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it.
Oh,
Part
I didn't
2.
even realize I said.
Part 2, season 2's this season 2.
You know what we mean.
Part
Yeah.
1's. Season 1's.
But yeah.
Cool.
Good
Yeah.
show.
So
Right,
jump
you
in
have
on those.
people played the game, saw the show, didn't play the game, played the game, didn't see the show.
Right.
and
get a little perspective here.
everyone's saying it was good.
Yeah, everyone loves it. It's for everybody.
Right.
If you're afraid of zombies like me, you can still watch it because there's not a lot.
There isn't a lot.
All right, yeah. So that was our what's currently hot.
Yeah.
Any other ones that
the
you guys
weekly
want to
drops.
throw in for honorable mention? I think that's like all. That's like my currently watching too.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Last of Us was kind of on my radar for the past however many weeks. There's that one week where both The Last of Us and The Mandalorian came out. That was a great week.
Yeah.
But then it ended.
Big week.
Big week.
Okay, so for looking ahead, I have Love and Death, a new HBO Max show coming April 27th.
Oh.
That'll be a Thursday release.
Something different.
Yeah, there we go.
Man, they get to go to their jobs. We just stay home and, God, that's supposed to be enough.
You always want more.
Oh,
You do, Candy. Whatever you have, you always want more.
yes, I do. And I'm not going to apologize for it. It is human nature to take risks, to go for something with a little thrill at the risk of falling.
You okay?
I'm fine.
Are you sure?
Would you be interested in having an affair? We can never allow Betty or Pat to get hurt.
Never, ever.
I would love to have you and Pat over. She wants me to come to dinner now. You need to be careful.
Betty! Betty?
Betty's dead.
Oh my God.
They say she was murdered with an axe.
An axe.
More than likely, Betty Gore was murdered by someone she knew.
Did you kill your wife? No. I did have an affair with Candy Montgomery.
You all right?
Yeah, Ellen, I'll be all right.
You just chopped and chopped and chopped.
I didn't do it.
I think you did.
You're wrong.
This is Texas.
Folks might be able to forgive murder, adultery, not so much.
The jury needs to see you as human. And the truth has a way of coming out.
Oh my. That
Little
just got,
twist
like,
there, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a true story too.
Wow.
Kind of crazy.
Super crazy. Yeah, that got like a little spicy and then it got like crazy.
Dark.
Yeah. Took a turn. Jeez. But looks good.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've been excited since WandaVision ended, and they were like, "Oh, she's gonna be on HBO." I was like, "Great, when?"
Sure.
So that looked like it could have been a movie, but series.
Yeah, like a limited series. So I think it's just like one and done.
Yeah.
Right. I can't imagine they make a season 2 to a true story.
Yeah.
Good point. Good point.
Which funny you say that because when I first saw the Tetris trailer, I thought that was a show.
Me too.
And then it was a movie. And then you watch this and you're like, oh, it looks like a
I
cool
guess
movie.
It's hard to distinguish, right?
They don't really.
Yeah,
They don't
just
really
like
say.
streaming doesn't really.
They should kind of emphasize that.
They should.
Or they should have just made Tetris a show. And then I would just assume that all Max originals are shows. So I'd just be like, but apparently they make movies too.
Isn't Tetris Apple TV?
Yeah.
Yes. Correct. Apple TV, HBO Max,
Yeah, it's all
Same thing.
Hulu. Too many.
But yeah, that looks good. Yeah,
It'll be
it
fun,
kind
yeah.
of has WandaVision vibes at the beginning.
Yeah.
Because she's like a
Elizabeth
50s housewife.
Right, Elizabeth Olsen, 50s
Or-
housewife.
I guess it's the 80s. But it looked
Oh, really?
it looked more old fashioned than
Oh
that.
wow.
Yeah.
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 Cool.
I think this was like a movie was made about this too, like recently on Hulu. It was like a year ago. It was just called Candy. But I didn't realize that was also about this woman.
Were those both in like production at the same time?
They must have been. I
Probably.
don't know why
Who done
this
it
story
better?
is like suddenly
wonder.
like gripping.
Yeah.
There's that mini series called Waco about the Waco, Texas
Yes.
cult, and then there was like a documentary like immediately also released. So there's just like two things about
tough
that,
to- yeah.
that cult going on. I don't know. Maybe there's like a certain period where you can't make a fictionalized story
True.
about some events, like some police files or something.
And that was like just lifted.
And right, it
and
was just
everyone
lifted,
was
and it's
like,
like,
"Yeah,
that's gonna
let's-
make awesome TV.
Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah.
So yeah, that's April 27th.
Cool.
Coming soon. Looking forward to it.
Cool.
So that does it.
That's
Yeah.
perfect. It was a great
That's
episode.
start watching those shows now.
Yeah,
You'll have a
Cle-
lot. You'll have a lot
clear
of
your
content.
Wednesdays, I guess.
Yeah,
yeah,
maybe when they
everything's
wrap, we
Wednesdays.
can like come back and review the seasons.
Yeah. So you really have the most.
I do have a
So
lot.
actually,
What
Yeah.
what time does Ted Lasso drop? You know,
I think in the morning though. I
'cause
think it's just
Mandalorian's 3
available all
a.m.
day. Oh yeah. I know that because last season I had everything spoiled for me by going on Twitter in the morning. And it would be like trending topic, Ahsoka. I was like, okay, so she comes back. Cool.
Dang.
Yeah, so all right. We'll see you next time on Stream It.
Sounds good.